Hey, I'm Marina.
And I'm Emily.
And I've seen everything in the Sex and the City empire 10,000 times.
And I'm starting fresh.
So I'll be woman-splaining the show.
And I'm along for the ride.
But there's a twist. We are starting with And Just Like That and working our way back to the beginning.
So in other words, we're watching it backwards and in high heels.
This is City and the Sex. Welcome back. Season 2, And Just Like That, episode 7. Emily, hello, hello.
Hello, hello. I'm nervous for how this is going to start because you always ask me a question and I'm never ready for it. And it's like a homework assignment that I didn't do, and I know it's coming. But my one-word description of this episode, can I go second? Because I need to think.
Okay. I love the incredible level of thought to then still punt the answer.
If there's anything I've learned so far from the show is like, you have no idea what show you're going to get when you sit down. You know what I mean? It's like there's a little terror when you like start the thing because you really don't know what's going to happen to you. This felt like consistently fine. And so it was like, okay, we've landed the plane. What's this episode called?
So it's February 14th and continuing with holiday themes. I think the last episode was the Halloween one. Am I right? No, Bomb Cyclone. So it was like
yes, the
snow day. So we went from holiday to snow day to February 14th.
Yeah, okay. I'm like starting to get a sense of what the timeline is like on the show. They do say something offhandedly about how Lily broke up with Blake, who was the kid. This is the infamous relationship from the Bomb Cyclone episode where Lily was of a mysterious age, is dead set on losing her virginity to this person. And they do mention at the top of this episode that they've broken up, which like after everything we went through in the last episode, I understand that time has moved on from this thing, but it was recent for me, Marina. So like I'm still hurting. It feels a little like untethered. Maybe that's my word for this episode is just like untethered. It's like a bunch of little scenes that, at least in this episode, are fine to watch, but I'm kind of just floating through space, just like watching stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel maybe this is controversial. Let me explain myself.
Oh, okay.
My one word would be stride, because my theory of the game is that this episode should have been the first episode of And Just Like That.
Oh, I like
I think the things that are the setup that this episode has, like obviously like give or take, like you can't carbon copy this episode, right? But more like the overarching, like where the characters are at and how they're positioned. When we go to season 1, Michael Patrick King in the Writers Podcast kind of talks about how much he wanted to like maybe like shock the audience, you know, because you're bringing the audience back. So like, how do you shock them? How do you like show them that these characters are in different places and updated places? And like, that's what this episode says to me. It's like everybody's positioned like in a way that's interesting, you know, that then can played with. I feel like up until this point has been exposition for the places that Michael Patrick King and the writers wanted to put these characters in.
Yes.
We're starting to like have fun. We're starting to engage into like what the I should say the drama I want to watch with these characters, I feel is like ignited in this episode.
I think I love that take of like, this should have been where we started, because like we're kind of moseying around and like, I was starting to have fun. I was enjoying it. I'll admit that. I was enjoying myself.
So let's get into it. February 14th. Let's start this time with Charlotte, since you brought it up at the beginning. You know, we see that Rock's stardom as a Ralph Lauren model is spilling over into a very famous New York street ad.
That they're all like gathered around And I thought it was sort of cute. The school kids are all getting excited, and this cute moment.
I thought it was very cute. Charlotte and LTW are there. I won't get into LTW's plot for now, but just to continue with Charlotte's, they're talking and Charlotte's like, yeah, you know, we have all these appointments to take Rock to these different agencies, and Rock is doing so good on Instagram. They have 3,000 followers. And so Charlotte's very much tipping into the stage mom of it all.
Yeah, she's getting a little swept away. I mean, I think her excitement is genuine, like for Rock, which is nice to see. But yeah, she's getting a little carried away. Side note, they filmed this. This is totally unrelated. I'm sorry. They filmed this school scene outside the Museum of the City of New York, which everyone should check out. It's on Museum of Mile, but it's underappreciated.
Oh, okay. I did wonder. I was always wondering, like, what is this exterior?
If you ever find yourself on the Upper East Side, go check out the Museum of the City of New York and be like, oh, this is where we all celebrated Rock and their campaign.
This is where we all knew that
TV
Rock
history.
was a supermodel. So we cut later to a scene with Charlotte and Harry. Harry's asleep. He says, don't nap shame me.
Good line.
Which I'll say,
Thanks.
I'm a guilty nap shamer. I absolutely.
Oh.
I used to. This is me coming forward.
No, I respect that. Thank you.
I used to nap shame the shit out of my partner. And now that I work at the crack of dawn, I get it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm the napper. I'm a napper, and I'm also like an enabler. Like, I will be the person that's like, you know what we could all use is like a good cuddle and nap right now. And he'll be like, no. And I'll be like, no, trust me though. You want to see this. You want to take this nap. You're going to like this. I am the evangelist of napping, so.
Well, I'm glad that I've changed my ways.
I'm glad you're well rested.
And I'm well rested. Well, Charlotte tells Harry to get the fuck up and forces him to make a Valentine's Day dinner reservation day of, because
very un-Charlotte-like behavior, I gotta say, is making a reservation day of for an infamously hard to book dinner. You know, like hard. You can't book dinner on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I mean, he gives the little exposition of like, we decided long ago we weren't going to do it because it's like, whatever, too much effort and too much work. But I mean, this whole plot, I feel that this is always like one of the last of the plots that's just infuriating on a dumb level. Lily wants to have an F the boys night, and then her parents can't be around, even though, as we've seen, they have the fucking largest apartment of all time.
Yeah, if anything, I will maybe give this the benefit out of like, maybe Charlotte just happens to be a person who, like, when the friends are there, can't stop. You know, she's the mean girl's mom. She like can't stop like cooking things and coming in and being like, hey girls, what are you doing? Hey girls, do you want to see this? I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt, which I already regret because I can't stand Lily. So, but that would be my only guess there. But yeah, it's a huge house. Huge house.
It's a huge house. I mean, I'll give that to you. But again, it's like, it just makes me mad because it's like, I think you're right. You know, maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh, but I am angry.
But
okay?
Also, what you need to understand is my blood is boiling.
I am angry.
I think
I am angry at the situation.
Yes. I think what I would pinpoint here is like what is making you angry, and where I'm kind of on the fence here. It's like, I think I agree in that I'm angry at the idea that she has to leave the house because Lily wants her to. Do you know what I mean? I think I'd be okay with this if it's like, she's like, oh, the girls won't mind anyway. They're having their thing. They don't want me around anyway. I'm going to go do this thing that I'm excited about.
It's definitely that. It's definitely not like, oh, you know, I can't really keep myself together in these situations. Because she like goes ahead and buys her the special cake later that we see. She like buys the special cake, and well, we'll get to Lily's reaction.
That's when I have a bullet point that just says in capital letters, Lily is a terror.
I do want to pinpoint before we leave this Harry and Charlotte scene and move on to that next scene that Charlotte's like, well, she's been having such a hard time after those mean seniors bullied her original music.
Oh, right. I forgot. That's so funny. And even Harry is like, well, honey, it's called the power of privilege. Like, that's dumb. Like, that's so good.
Like, she was asking for it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, thank God we mentioned, like, because I was like, we never see her music again, I think, in the rest of the series so far. But I was like, thank God we get this mention that's like, yeah, we don't mention it on purpose because, like, I don't know, halfway through the season, we decided it was dumb ourselves. Like, it's just...
Yeah. Like, in universe, we have decided that this is dumb. The writer of that thought that they were doing something. And then whoever's writing this one came in, they were like, that was stupid. And we're going to, like, in universe say that was stupid.
It was a very Rian Johnson move.
No notes for that scene.
No notes for that scene. But we do get to Charlotte, buying the special cake and Lily saying, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, she's got to stop doing that.
Just absolutely slamming her in the face.
Yeah. She's like one step away from taking the cake and just kicking it into her face. Like, all she did, it's not even like she came into the room in the way that Marina and I are describing of like, maybe she was being Mean Girl's mom. It's like she was in the room next to them and was like, Lily, I got you a cake. And she's like, shut the fuck up, Mom. You're ruining the vibes. The vibes, by the way, are them all sitting around the island counter singing Antihero by Taylor Swift. Your vibes were trash to begin with, Lily.
It's so gross. It's so gross. Especially because, again, Charlotte's just trying to like get in on the fuck the boys fun. And then she's like, no, fuck you.
God. And she's like, we don't need it because my friend bought me brownies and they're delicious. And then like stomps away. And then it's like, you're just so unnecessarily hurtful.
It's so hurtful. Public enemy number one. That's who she is. I can't officially. I think we can agree. Like, and Tori, I would like a nice stamp effect here. Like, worst character, and then just like that.
Yeah. Congratulations on winning that title.
Congratulations! Round of applause. Congratulations.
Look, you were up against Che Diaz. You were up against a lot, but boy, you came from behind victory.
Came from behind, but
screen time.
She's definitely polling number one. We'll make a decision at the end, but she's hard polling number one worst character in this season.
Hard polling. We'll see what happens after the first debate, but she's the front runner.
Yeah. NBC News poll predicts that
she will win.
She will win. We have one more scene with Charlotte before the Lily takedown, which is that Charlotte is at a Brooklyn agency with Rock, meeting with all these big management companies to launch their model career. Mm-hmm. And it's the Brooklyn agency because they're all like trendy and have no expressions. And that's what cool people are.
Exactly. This is the Brooklyn one. As you can see, remember, Michael Patrick King hasn't left his 10-block radius since he was on Frozen from his tomb by HBO. So you have to give him a little leeway here. He's doing his best.
He just was like, Brooklyn is people in big hats with bitchy attitudes.
He's like those bitchy hat people. God, I hate him. You know what we've discussed how he hates young people, which is like incredibly clear on the show. But also, you know what I've realized, there's a specific sliver to that. And he really hates people. He hates service workers.
He does.
Here's my theory, is that Michael Patrick King doesn't tip. Can anyone confirm or deny this? Please write into the show. But he hates service people. It's like every cashier, waiter, any position at all we have seen, the person has had not just like a bad attitude, like in terms of, they don't seem extremely excited, enthusiastic. I mean, like, you'll ask them a question and they will glare at you and walk away without saying anything. Like that kind of level of unhinged animosity.
I have never thought about this. You are absolutely right. Like, I want to enliven the conspiracy theory that he does not tip and he hates service workers. But I think that there's a dumber reason. In you saying this, I realized I think there's a dumber reason, which I think he just is like, I think it's just like a hack go-to for him. He's like, and then the scene's funny because the waiter's bitchy.
Yes.
And then he's like, and then this scene's funny because the person pouring water, they're bitchy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, right. I feel like this scene is missing something. Can you be like bitchier? Like, that's what I'm starting to understand is like, unless you're lovable kind of like wisecracker, and you're not talented enough for that, you're just going to be bitchy occupation. We need to start like a counter. I honestly am like, do I go back and watch all the episodes and recap who all the bitchy people are? Because yeah, no, you have opened my eyes. Like I feel born again, because you're absolutely right. I don't think we've ever seen a receptionist that was like, yeah, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, was that jarring for you?
No, I just really like that was your example. Like, that's all you need. It's funny, and also that's all you needed is just, yeah, oh my God. It's like, that's hilarious. Yeah, they don't have to do anything. They just have to be like, thanks, please sit down. Like, we'll call you when you're ready. Like, they just have one offhanded line. That's all they have to do. But no. If you're in it just like that, you have to roll your eyes and say, I guess you can sit over there.
Yeah, no. Wow. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. You're absolutely right. But anyway, Charlotte is at the Brooklyn agency and pulling yet another Karen moment. They love to make her a Karen. It makes me sad. But she has a full-blown meltdown because they've been waiting 30 minutes and she has these other two Manhattan agency gigs, whatever, meetings. And so she just decides that they're going to leave. And Rock is clearly kind of, taking this in and kind of disturbed by it. And then we cut to them coming home and Charlotte's like, well, the two Manhattan agencies loved you, so you just need to decide which one is which. And Rock is like, I don't want to do this anymore. You seem unpleasant and it's not fun. And you told me if it's not fun, I'm out. And you should just focus on your client that you have already, which is the dog.
All right, Marina, how do you feel about this? I asking you to go first because you had such a telling facial expression that I would like you to elaborate on.
I think if I really had to get the kernel of my anger, it's why is it taking 3 episodes for her to decide to go back to work, and all of this dumb clutter that we have to live through for her to decide to go back to work. Like, I don't enjoy seeing her being a Karen at this agency. I don't enjoy seeing her child being upset by that. Do I clap for Rock because Rock's like, I don't want to do it and that's not fun? Sure. But it's like, I'm glad it's over. I'm just hating how long it is taking me to get through this.
And the winding road we took to get here, like with the last episode and the condom brigade, it's like, we didn't have to suffer this much to get to this conclusion.
Yes.
There's things to like in here, which is, A, it's great to see that Charlotte wants to go back to work. Hooray, let's get that started. B, I like that Rock said, I don't like a thing because it's not fun anymore, and I'm going to say it. I'm not obligated to do this. I'm going to say it. C, I also like that Charlotte just gave up on it. And we didn't get extended, because this absolutely could be something that we would extend into the rest of the episode of her being like, oh my God, the way that these characters don't know how to like deal with things. Charlotte has the best record I see of like a thing happens and then she like moves on. Like she tells another person about it, but has moved on. After last episode, we've had damage done to us. So
yeah, I just feel like the lingering effects of last episode, I think, in every scene until finally we get to what for me is like one of my favorite scenes, which is she and Harry get to going back to Lily tells her to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I have my friends' brownies. They're better than your cake. So get the fuck out of here. Charlotte decides to take a bite of one of the brownies. Harry and Charlotte go to the restaurant, like the one restaurant that they're able to find. And we have a bitchy receptionist who won't make eye contact with Harry.
Of course.
And so he's like desperate to try and sit down. And then suddenly Charlotte is like, whoa, I feel really tingly. Like I feel out of myself. Then she says, I can feel my blood. And Harry's like, what do you mean? She's like, I just don't feel good. And then he's like, are you like, what, like having a stroke? And she's like, I think I'm having a stroke. The way that he bolts over to the receptionist and is like, my wife is having a stroke. And she's like, yeah, again, bitchy receptionist that we all know and love. Yeah, no, everyone says that to get a table. And he's like, call 911. He's like, call fucking 911, like screams. It's so good.
It's so wonderful. Also, I mean, first of all, I do love the idea that this is an excuse someone has to get a table. Is I'm having a stroke. I need to be seated right now for my meal is hilarious.
Hilarious.
And I also really loved this bit because it's like you see it coming a mile away. Just anytime there's any goofy comedy sitcom or whatever, and they're like, oh, mysterious thing of brownies that we don't know where it came from. Like, you know what's coming. And yet you love every beat. Like, Harry's reaction to her is so funny of, oh my God, it's a stroke. And then she gets scared too. Like, he gets her scared. And she's like, you're right, it is a stroke. And they're like, it's a stroke. Back and forth.
This is the perfect example of like what we talk about all the time that they fail at of like, and not, I mean, like the show on a whole of like comedy scenes that people take seriously, but it doesn't work because they're like treating it like this is one where they take it so seriously that it's so funny, and they're both on the same page.
Yes.
So the ambulance shows up. They're putting her in the stretcher of the ambulance. He is screaming. He's
like, I love you.
Yeah, he's like, I love you. Like, that's my wife. Like, they won't let him ride in the back. They're like, sir, you can ride in the front. He's like, I have to be with my wife. Like, she's dying.
I think he literally uses the phrase, but this is the love of my life.
Yeah, he does. He goes, but this
Which
is the love of my life.
So sweet and funny.
She's screaming back. She's like, Harry, I love you. And then she screams my favorite thing of all time, which is, please get Carrie to pick out what I'm buried in. Which
so good.
So good. So good. And then we see them at the hospital, and we find out that she was just high from the brownie. She's going to be okay. And she has a reckoning. Finally, the one we've been waiting for what is this, episode 7? And then we had 10 episodes for 17 episodes.
Oh boy. Oh, so this was something that you talked about this before. I didn't realize I thought there was a this season problem. This has been going on for.
Well, let me put it this way.
Okay.
I have personally been rooting for Charlotte to go back to work.
Okay.
Throughout this whole show.
I see.
I think because that gives like some interesting meat to actually play with, as opposed to dealing with the children. I'm seeing too much of the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. Of like, kid has a problem, Charlotte freaks out, it's resolved. Other kid has a problem, Charlotte freaks out, it's resolved. Like, especially when you have a chance to start a new show, it's like, wouldn't it be nice to explore what it's like to be a mother re-entering the workforce?
There you go.
Something interesting, something different than my daughter is a fucking bitch and I don't know how to deal with that. Before I move on to everybody else's plot, I want to double back to LTW since they're kind of like together at the beginning of that scene at school where, you know, it's Charlotte and LTW. They're talking. Charlotte's talking about rock. And then LTW notices that her son and his girlfriend are kind of like canoodling in the schoolyard. And the girlfriend has her hand on his belt, kind of near his. First of all, I hate the fact that I'm having to say any of this about a teen, but she's got her hand on his belt near his penis in the schoolyard, and LTW has a freak out and says, it's 3:30 in public. You can't be groping each other like this. And he has the audacity to be like, Mom, and the girlfriend, it takes the girlfriend way too long to move her hand off of his belt, I would say.
Very weird. Very weird. I know that this was a blocking thing and not a character choice because the show is not intentional enough to have like character choices. But because her hand is awkwardly there the whole time when LTW approaches and they like half turn to look at her and her hand is still resting on him, it feels sinister.
Yeah, I think it's because like there's some sort of disconnect of like LTW like rushes over and they break up kissing right away. Mm-hmm. But she leaves the hand there and it makes you think it's intentional. Yeah. But I think we know better and we know that it's an accident.
We know it's a show.
We know these
nice
people.
Try.
Good, nice try. But LTW and Herbert. Oh, by the way, did you catch these Herbert Jr.?
Oh, yes, I did. Oh, dear.
Got to keep that name going.
I mean, it's a family turtle name.
Family turtle name. Maybe the T is for turtle.
Yeah, has anyone checked? Has anyone opened the Wikipedia for
The
And Just Like
wiki,
That?
and just like that wiki. But anyway, Herbert announces that they're going to some fancy place for Valentine's Day dinner, and then her son comes in and like he fucking narcs himself. He comes in and he says, "My girlfriend's parents got us a suite at the Mandarin Hotel for Valentine's Day." Sir, sir, what? Why would you ever tell your parents that? I know that you have to like go. So I guess he's telling them so that he can ask their permission to go. What parent would buying a suite for their kids to fuck in?
I was just gonna say this. See, if this was a normal world that the show was operating in, and someone came in and said that, I would say, honey, the parents didn't buy you that suite. She used her parents' credit cards to buy the suite.
Well, this is a rare time where I need some more scaffolding. Like what I needed was LTW to like come into his room to like ask him for something and then like sees a paper or maybe his laptop's open and is like, "What is this?" And he's like, nothing. And I don't know what is this show's addiction to people just coming into scenes, spilling all the beans with no veneer of shame.
They really don't know how to start or end conversations. And as we've seen, oftentimes they don't know how to do the middle of a conversation either. But like, I think this is their weakest point. It's like, how do you start and how do you end? We don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like in improv, they teach you like get a bunch of facts out in the first sentence. For beginner improv, they're like, when you come out, it might feel a little stilted, but you need to be like, woof, like the aquarium's full of people today, huh, mom? Like that tells you like we're at an aquarium, you're my mother, it's full, like, has some details.
Spot on comparison. Can I just say bravo? That's exactly what this feels like, is that kind of improv-y thing of like, hi, I'm here as the spy here to like arrest you on this international cruise that we're on in the Mediterranean or something. And you're like, so
yeah.
That is exactly what is happening and how these scenes start. So it is very funny that he comes in to announce this.
Herbert says, "Why don't you hang out here?" And then LTW becomes fixated on the fact that they're going to fuck in her bed. And I love that Herbert's like, your bed, I don't know. His bed, definitely.
Yeah.
Good line. Solid line.
Yeah.
So later when they leave for dinner, she like booby traps the bed by like setting up the pillows in a certain way so that if somebody moves them or touches them or whatever, they like can't put it back the same way, which, I think
we're going to say the same thing.
That we've done this as well in other contexts.
Oh, that I would have done this.
Yeah. Oh, this is exactly what I would have done. Yes, of course. Genius.
I see.
Genius.
Yeah. Excellent. I'm glad she even took a picture after it. I was like, oh, she knows what she's doing. I would do the same.
This is the first depiction of women I've seen in this whole show so far that has rung true.
Oh my God, that's so true. Thank you for saying that.
Like I'm joking, but this is like, but also not.
But this is women behavior.
This is genuinely the first like nugget of just relatable women behavior that I'm like, yes. No questions. No questions, no cynicism that you and I normally have on these things. I do love when they come back home and Herbert's like all quiet on the pillow front. Classic. And the bed is untouched, but they turn it to the closet and they find that the girlfriend is taking pictures with the purse that she complimented earlier. And LTW has a full-blown meltdown. And then Herbert's like, to the son, he's like, I can save you from a lot of things, but your mom's closet, like, that's you being a dummy. And then this plot is over.
That's it? Nothing? There was no wrap-up? No, that was it?
Nope, that's it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I do want to get into Anthony really quick before we get into the bigger plots with Miranda and Carrie. And I want to get into I'll do the smaller plots first, then get into the bigger ones. So we have Anthony, and he's at Hot Fella Breads, which is his bread company that they just decide sometimes is important and sometimes not. So I do love that he has a bread phone.
Very good. Very good bit.
bread phone, 10 out of 10. Okay, I think then we get a scene with some of the clunkiest scaffolding that we've ever seen. So, like, this one's a real mousetrap board game of like point A to point B.
Right, exactly. How we have to get to the shenanigans. And I will say I took this one personally because Anthony so far has been unscathed by the nonsense.
Unscathed.
And
they ding him a little bit
for him. It came for my boy.
So Drew Barrymore invites him to come on the Drew Barrymore show to talk about his bread on Valentine's Day. Even though everyone's on strike. Although this episode came out before the strike. Yeah, it was funny to come back to this episode post-strike and be like, wow, this did not age well.
Yeah, it's goodwill thrown out the window for nothing.
Poor Drew Barrymore. But also not. And therefore I take both sides. You can't come for me. Okay, so if I take all the sides of an argument, then I'm safe. That's how that works, right? That's how that works.
Yeah, Sun Tzu said that, I think.
So Drew Barrymore called and he's so excited. And then one of the hot guys just takes out a syringe in the middle of the workplace and fucking shoots up his thigh. And Anthony's like, I hope that's insulin. And he's like, no, it's fucking roids. I'm fucking roiding up in public in front of everyone at work, which is crazy. Then what's even more absurd is Anthony being like, oh, this isn't the Russian Olympics. Like I don't stand for roiding here. So they all leave because apparently they're all roiding.
And now all of a sudden he has no hot fellas.
He doesn't have any hot fellas for his Drew Barrymore hit. Like it's the most feverish 2 minutes of screen time.
And there's a bread phone involved.
And there's a bread phone and that takes a backseat.
You're right,
to the
exactly.
Insanity that unfolds.
And that's the most normal thing that's happening.
Again, just not to hate on these writers, but it's like because I do think it's Michael Patrick King. He's constantly putting them in these corners that they have to write themselves out of, and I feel bad. It's like Hot Fellas Bakery is full of hot guys, but now we need this like tender Italian poet to burst through. So we have to make a way to make all the hot guys disappear. And then continue on a business plan that makes no sense. But we'll get there. So, as I said, Charlotte and Anthony are talking. Anthony is like, I need a hot fella. I'm dying. I have to go on to Drew Barrymore and I have no one. Charlotte's at the card store and she sees this tender poet selling $1 poems and walks over there and finds out he's a real Italian from Italy. And he is. The writers won't shut up on the podcast about how he's a real Italian from Italy.
We found one.
I
was want to say there's two things about the scene that I wanted to note. One, whoever did the lighting, very funny. I like that he had like a halo light. I don't know if you saw it like coming through the back of his hair. Very funny. Number one. Number two, something occurred to me about how many phone conversations there are in this show. So he says something like, I don't want porn, I want like morning.
Yes,
something like that.
She says they can hear, like, I'm in a card store or something like that.
Yes, and she says, Anthony, I'm in a card store. He's not on speakerphone. And he didn't even say anything particularly, even if he were on speakerphone, he didn't even say anything that was particularly incriminating. And there was something about this where I was like, are some of these scenes, like, is the fact that so many people are on their phones, I feel like opens up the door to a lot of shenanigans in the editing room where you can snip lines and stuff and just kind of like speed things along. And I wonder if that happens sometimes with all of these like nonsense non sequiturs that happen, especially on the phone.
I'm not going to deny that theory. My theory is that they write these scenes like everyone's together. And so they forget that there's a phone. Because this scene would have made sense if Anthony was there. If he was like, I need less porn and more whatever in the middle of a card store, and Charlotte would have been like, shh, 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 shh. And so I think they probably started this scene and that both of them were in the scene, like in the writing. And then they were like, well, we can't have Anthony there because he needs to be like surprised, I guess, by Giuseppe later on. So we'll put him on the phone. But then they didn't fix that line. That's my theory. That's my JFK assassination theory.
Okay. Look, both of them are bad if true, because both of them are a different level of incompetent, but a ball is being dropped here.
Whatever. She finds Romeo in a card store, as they say. This is a ginormous awkward cut here because Charlotte like approaches him, and the way that he approaches, because she's like $1 for a poem. What if I gave you $300, but you just have to do this one thing for me? And he's like, I am not a prostitute. And she's like, no, I didn't mean it like that. And then we don't see how they resolve that. And then I think it literally edits. It cuts to Anthony at Drew Barrymore's show, and we just assume that this man is on for the ride. Excuse me, you just insinuated that this man is available for prostitution. I know that wasn't her intention, right? But like, I need to see the scene where she convinces him to do this. We don't get it.
Right. It just stops kind of in the middle, and then you're surprised he shows up later, because the last thing we saw
why would he sign on to do this?
It's very weird editing.
So he shows up at the Drew Barrymore show. He puts on the little outfit, and we come to understand that he has the longest penis in human history.
The prop they use for this is ridiculous. I'm sorry, ridiculous. It's not even like, oh, it's ridiculously sized. I mean, it's like the shape. It's like, how do I explain this? It's like whatever prop was in there, they clearly had some prop assistant run out and like buy a dildo, but it like also came with balls. So it's like the full shape is there like in front. Do you know what I'm
saying? Yeah, I agree. This is like, we're getting really technical now.
Okay.
The balls are too big.
Yeah.
Like you like, for some reason I can understand through his pants that he has meaty balls. And I just need to understand that he has a long penis.
Right. It was like, this looks like a gun. It looks like he's hiding a gun.
Something's wrong with the prop. It's like he has a bulge and a long penis.
Yes, he has like two shaped bulges.
Yeah,
so
like,
it looks very unnatural. It's very, exactly. It's like, how did this happen?
It feels like costume department made the bulge first, and then they were like, it's not reading on camera. I need to know that it's long. So then they ran out and bought a dildo at a store and then shoved that, but they didn't take the bulge out. And I'm like, does this man have two dicks?
It looks unwell.
It does. It looks unwell. We get an actual Drew Barrymore cameo filmed on the show. Anthony's selling the bread.
Which she did very well.
She did.
Where credit's due, yeah.
Giuseppe comes out and he's a hit. Everybody's making bread penis puns left and right. You love to see it.
I have no words.
They were both low energy, Jeb. Like, it's
I'm so tired. And also because it's like, it's Anthony. Like, he was sort of the safe haven before, and I'm just sad that we're here right now.
I am sad. It is a lot of scaffolding to get to where we get to with this relationship, and it makes me sad. But again, I think they think all of this is funny. So
yeah,
well, then because Giuseppe's a hit and he's the only delivery guy, Anthony's like, well, you have to stay on for at least a week and be the one delivery person. It makes this business plan now has completely folded.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's like, you're the one delivery guy now and everybody loves you. So
yeah, the business plan is that it is a delivery for this bakery with one delivery person who has also gone viral by the time they make it from the stage to backstage area.
It make no sense, as they would say in Italian.
Okay, Giuseppe. It's a me, Giuseppe.
It's a me, Giuseppe. I think this is a good time for me to admit that one of my biggest childhood loves was a boy named Giuseppe.
Where is he now?
We met at the beach. I have no idea. He was a one summer beach romance. My grandpa.
Do you want to give him a shout out? Do you want to ask him what he's doing?
I'm giving him a shout out now if because he's listening. I think it was like either the summer of like second going into third, or maybe it was third going into fourth. But my grandpa would take me to the beach, and he was there every day, and I was there every day, and we would swim in the ocean, and we kissed under a bridge once. And my grandpa would ask me how Giuseppe was every day. He'd be like, how are you and Giuseppe?
He's still thinking about him.
And then I found out that he and my dad were just making fun of him the entire time, the whole summer, together on the beach.
That is so cruel. Why? Giuseppe didn't deserve that.
Poor Giuseppe. And then the next summer I had to go to sailing school, so I couldn't return to the beach. And that was our...
He was waiting for you.
One summer
He wrote you every day for a year.
Every day for a year. He was the love of my life, and now he's in this television show with 2 dicks.
Well, he missed out his chance, and that I hope he feels sorry.
I do too. Well, Anthony says roses are red, violets are blue. If you don't say yes, I'll kill myself. That's a great poem. And then
very funny.
He agrees to do 1 week, and we end on a nice little cameo from Ross Matthews of RuPaul's Drag Race and Drew Barrymore show fame. And that's Anthony's plot.
All right. And we're done.
The last of our little subplots is Naya. Naya, who gets some of the best moments this episode. She's just like brief little lemon drops of just. So first we open and she's having a Zoom time with her friends, which is just like we couldn't bring
the
these
early
actors
pandemic.
in. Yeah. I know. It's like were they too lazy to bring these actors in?
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what? That didn't occur to me. That is a good point. There is no reason for this to be a Zoom. But they hire the actors anyway. Why not just... Why? What's wrong with these people?
I counted the number of lines in this scene because it is so short. There are 9 total lines in this friendship scene. Because it goes by so fast of just like, Naya, what are you doing for Valentine's Day? I'm making a chocolate souffle. They're like, no. And she's like, yes, scene's over. I do have to say, though, Naya here coins mevening, which is the single best thing I've ever heard. And I say it all the time now. But then we have Naya and Miranda in the bookstore, which I'll get to later. But, we see her buy the book for the souffle, and then she makes a souffle, and then she eats the souffle.
Look, she sells it.
Fiend
it looks
plot.
Great.
She sells the hell out of it. But tying into her plot is Miranda's plot. So we do open. Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte are all at brunch. And, as we'll get to later, Carrie's talking about possibly reuniting with Aidan. And they all kind of like give their take on that. And then they start to bully Miranda about her sexuality because Charlotte and Carrie have decided that she's just a lesbian now. And Miranda's like, I don't really know what I am. And they're like, well, maybe you should figure that out.
Yeah, Carrie has that line where, again, if this were a better show that I'd be more generous with, I would read that as a joke. I would read it as Carrie is making a joke, like ironically, being like, well, why don't you figure that out? Kind of, or like their exchange, I would read it as a joke. But because it's this show, I think she's genuinely like, okay, Miranda, whatever. I think she genuinely just doesn't think that bisexuality is a thing. Like, it doesn't understand.
This is a nice, Emily moment. Remember that.
No, what?
Remember that.
God. Is Carrie bi? That. No, she's not.
No. You know for a fact that she's not.
I know she's not.
I'm really proud.
My mind is racing.
I'm really proud that you feel in your bones that she is not. And I will say that you are correct. But hold on to Carrie and bisexuality. It's going to come back later and you're going to cry.
No, okay.
But anyway, yeah, Carrie's like, ew. Charlotte's like basically pressuring Miranda to just be at least married. Like Charlotte's basically like, you could be a lesbian as long as you find true love. Like, okay. And then the scene, I don't remember what is the joke that this scene ends on. All I remember is that it does cut in the middle of a Charlotte line.
Yes. I don't remember what the joke is either. It's something where like it's a joke at her expense, so she looks like offended, and then kind of takes an inhale to respond to the offense, and then we cut away.
And it's like, why?
It's maddening.
I guess they have to show her reaction shot, but they cut it like a hair too late. Because you can see her open her mouth to say something, and then they just fucking cut it. It's one of the worst hard cuts I've ever seen.
We didn't get anything else. We didn't get another take of her reaction that we could use. Nothing else would have saved this. I mean, it's just, I don't know what's going on over here.
It's very much draft published to HBO Max.
Yes. Not even that, honestly. It's like that embarrassing.
But we cut to Miranda at home. looking at dating sites. I paused the screen to write down all the dating sites because I was like, I feel like we have to go through this. So it says at the top, first of all, I just want to say all the websites that we see in this show look like something you would see on Dateline.
And do you know why that is, Miranda? It's because Michael Patrick King has been frozen for 15 years.
And his last reference point is fucking Dateline.
He thinks that's what the internet is. He doesn't know.
Yeah, she's on this like janky HTML website that at the top, just in Arial font, has top 10 dating sites for LGBTQ singles.
And like word art.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's like LGBTQ singles and like rainbow word art.
Yes. There's Zeusk, which is just dating. There's Elite, which is college dating. There's Bye Bye Love, which is for bisexuals. And then there's like Silver Singles, which is clearly for old people.
Okay, so she's trying to figure out where she fits in.
This whole scene is to show us that Che calls and Miranda ignores the call, which honestly, fair?
Yeah, good. Why?
We immediately cut to Carrie and Che at lunch, coming out of lunch. And
which shout out, I know where this is, and there's another place I want to shout out because I think people should visit there if they can. This is a famous luncheonette on 83rd and Lex, and I know exactly where that is because my friend from school lived literally across the street from there. And I would highly recommend it to people because luncheonettes are like this very dying old thing, and it used to be such a New York thing. They were all over the place, and now there's just like coffee shops, which is different. It's a very died out thing that just, we now have like diners and we have like coffee shops, you know, but we don't have like that kind of meeting place anymore.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan of what happens next.
No.
First of all, Carrie is giving us like fall plaid blanket witch. I hate to say it. And I don't mean that as a diss to Sarah Jessica Parker. It's just like she's wearing, there's a lot of like plaids on plaids on plaids. Later on, Miranda, I counted, is wearing an outfit that has 4 different kinds of plaid in it.
Yes.
And this is another one where I'm like, I just want to be like, cross-matching plaids on top of each other is not fashion.
Stop the count.
Stop the count.
I know exactly what outfit you're talking about with Miranda, where I was like, I didn't pay attention to anything that was said during that scene. We're going to get to it, and I'm going to hear you recap it. It'll be the first time I hear what happens in that scene. Because as I was watching it, all I could think about were the ridiculous, her gloves are a different pattern than her jacket, and then her undershirt, and then her scarf, and then her belts, and her shoe. It's like everything is a pattern, and you can't like double that up to then circle around and be fashionable again. You know what I mean? It doesn't work like that.
Also because Miranda's not like is not the fashion person. It's not that she's unfashionable, but she's not like the risk taker. So you're like, why are you wearing 8 different plaids? And they put her in 8 different plaids. I think they just think Miranda is a plaid character, I guess because she's like back in school. But in season 1, she's also just like drenched in plaid. And I just, listen, I love a good plaid, but it's too fucking much. Stop the count.
It's also not like good plaid is the thing. I hate this word, but I can't think of another way. Frumpy. It's like a very frumpy look. I dug this out of a closet somewhere and just threw whatever.
Yeah, it's very muted.
Yeah.
Let me just get through what happens in this scene, and then we'll just go back piece by piece and break it apart because it's all bad.
Okay.
Che says, is Miranda ghosting me? Carrie basically is like, define ghosting. And then Carrie's like, well, you know, Miranda can be an introspective person when it comes to exes. And then Che says, I don't need to hear a TED Talk on Miranda. And then Carrie's like, good, I don't want to give it. And then Che's like, well, Miranda left a box of shit at my apartment. So I'm calling her so that she can come and get it. And then a dog runs across the screen and they find a stray dog and bring it to a shelter. We'll get to the shelter part in a bit because that's separate. But If you don't want to hear a TED Talk on Miranda, first of all, why are you asking if she's ghosting, if you clearly don't care? And also, why not just give the box to Carrie?
Mm-hmm.
Why not really just give the box to Carrie?
Also, to nitpick here, because we want to take this whole thing apart, right? That's not even what ghosting is. Like, ghosting is like, I'm not going to respond to the messages in like and you won't even know what happened to me. Like, ghosting is like disappearing mid-conversation, whatever. There's no reason for Miranda to be picking up the phone. She's absolutely not obligated to. So it's not ghosting to say, like, we have ended a relationship and I don't want to contact you anymore. So already the scene was pissing me off. And then, yeah, it's not... Che seems really bothered by it and says something kind of catty when Carrie doesn't answer at first, being like, oh, so I guess that's a yes. Something like that. And it's like, Che has no right to be upset. They just broke up with someone. Like, why is this unusual? This is not unusual behavior for Miranda to not want to talk. Why does Miranda have to talk?
I feel like they want to make the point that Miranda's not good with her exes, but
I don't buy that.
Che was also not good. And also, like, as Che says, like, I thought we ended in a good place. Okay, then it's not bad to have some space. Instead, we get a mean-spirited, like, I hate the way that the visceral anger I got at. I don't need a TED Talk on Miranda. It's like, go fuck yourself. And then the fact that Carrie's like, well, I don't want to give it. It's like, excuse me.
Right.
That's your friend. I know we say this every episode, but it's so upsetting. It's so upsetting.
It's so upsetting, but that is unfortunately going to be a mainstay, I think, is Carrie, that's your friend. Every instance I've seen, where Carrie has an opportunity to stand up to a friend, or a friend is being, like, disrespected in her presence, she has failed. It's not even like Carrie's caught between two close friends and, oh, she feels so uncomfortable and accidentally says the wrong thing. Che is not on the level that Miranda is.
It just makes me upset that even when they're broken up and I'm like, we're free and clear, it's like Che's still playing games about this. It's like, just give the box to Carrie. Just drop the box off at Miranda's house. Text Miranda, hey, I have a box of shit. Can you come get it? Why are you always calling? Why does it have to be a phone call? I say this a lot. I'm trying to say it less. This is going to be my one I hate it of this episode.
Okay. You hate it. All right.
I hate it.
And once again, by the way, they don't know how to even leave the scene, so a stray dog runs across there.
Again, they can't interrupt the scene, so a stray dog runs across. Che finds it under the car, brings it to a shelter that we find out Che used to work at in their pre-comedy success days. We meet who's probably number one for best character in the show, Judy, who's like their longtime kind of coworker there. And Judy offers Che a job.
Judy is so good that she makes Che look good.
I agree. I think it's amazing to me how Che, like we've had all these characters now for a couple episodes, maybe even 2 seasons. Judy is in this show for probably, when you clip all of Judy's scenes together, by the end, it's probably like 5 minutes of screen time, but she's just so lived in that you're like, I believe this person works here. I believe this person is this funny. The scenes feel so natural. Like, I didn't even write down the kind of jokes that they go back and forth on, but they just are good. It's just shouts to Judy.
Yeah, incredible. I think she stole the whole thing, because it was like you said, she's barely on screen, and yet the minute she's there, I felt like my muscles unclenched.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, I can relax. This is a person. This is a human being on my screen, acting like one and making me laugh and seems like nice and funny.
Maybe it's like harder to edit her because she's so wonderfully, everything comes out, like all the dialogue comes out as if she's saying it for the first time. Because whereas other people, when they have these kind of comedy scenes, it feels very edited. The animal shelter stuff, 10 out of 10. I wish Che could have just always worked at the animal shelter instead of trying to be a comedian, but...
Oh, can you imagine? What an alternate what a sliding doors alternate universe is like. What if Che was just at the animal shelter? I think they would still be insufferable. I think they would still be, as you said, mean-spirited. But I wonder if the hate would have been lessened if they weren't a stand-up comedian that was so obviously bad at comedy.
So that's like a wrap on Che and a wrap on that horrific 2-minute scene that had me also screaming. But we go back to Naya and Miranda at the bookstore. Naya has a really great line here of, because the store is like decked out in Valentine's Day stuff. And she's like, well, February is also Black History Month, and like all we get are 2 shelves at a table. And they look over and she's like, yep, there it is, the 2 shelves and a table. And I was like, that's actually hilarious. Then we get another improv scene starter is how I'm going to refer to this technique of Miranda just going, am I a lesbian?
I hate it.
I hate it.
I hate scenes starting this way, conversations starting this way. There's only so many times you can get away with it, of someone saying something like this and then the other person they're talking to being like, wow, that came out of nowhere. But that happens every time in every conversation that is had in this show. God, it makes me feel crazy. The show makes me feel crazy.
What makes me feel crazier is that Naya responds with a great answer that's actually deep and cool. And you're like, why? It's like, it's too smart for this show. But Naya says, it's just like how I say to my students, explore the topic, do the research, cite the examples, which is like lovely.
Yeah.
Too good for the show.
A wonderful analogy and very empathetic.
Too good for this show. Well, Miranda turns a corner and finds there's a back room where a woman is reading aloud Pride and Prejudice. And she is like, she's got like the silky, warm butter voice of Hugh Jackman and Kate and Leopold.
Good reference. I can't let you say Kate and Leopold in a setting without me being like, that's good. That's a good movie. That's a good reference to a masterpiece.
One of my favorites. But this woman is there. She's dressed head to toe in red, which I have to admire. Even her outdoor coat is a red leather trench coat. It's kind of incredible. Why they gave the one good outfit of this episode to
this person.
Walk-on character, we'll never know. But
that's a good question.
But anyway, Miranda waits for her to come out of the bookstore. They have some romantic chat. We are all distracted by the fact that Miranda is wearing 16 plaids. And then Amelia says, why don't you come over?
Mm-hmm. She's intrigued by this plaid monster.
By this plaid monster. So then we cut to Carrie and Miranda have a phone call that I actually really starts cringy but ends in a place that I really love, which is, first of all, Miranda's like, I can't believe myself. Like, I saw this woman, I asked her out, and like, we're going on this date. And she's like, it is on. And this whole scene is an excuse to make 18 billion book and sex puns, which ends on Miranda being like, I'm done with Dickens.
I'm not going to dignify that with a response.
Yep. And the silence speaks volumes. I love that they share in the fact that they both have hot dates at 56 years old. I thought that was very cute.
That's nice, yes.
Finally, seeing something interesting about women of a certain age dating. Yeah. Who would have thunk it would have taken 17 goddamn fucking episodes?
I know, for someone to like go on dates in this show that aren't like horrifying.
So then Miranda and Naya are at home. Naya's preparing her cake, and Miranda comes out of her room looking amazing. She's got this beautiful purple dress on, full glam. Just, I think even Naya says like, ooh, hot mama or something like that. Mm-hmm. She's really.
And then she puts on a dull purple plaid coat.
Burn it to ash.
I think that's a hate crime.
It is a hate crime. I also just want to put out the PSA, which is like, sorry, but no more.
No more.
No more. If you are putting 2 plaids on top of each other, stop. If you are thinking to yourself, how can I put more plaid in this outfit? Stop.
Stop.
You have bad costumer's disease because you're convinced that plaid automatically makes outfits interesting. And plaid can make outfits interesting. But if you're lying on it like this, you have a problem. People love you. People care about you. Seek help.
Thank you. Thank you for that PSA. Can we do a little like more, the more you know?
1-800.
If you or someone you know is wearing way too much plaid at once,
call 1-800 plaid, bitch.
Call 1-800 Marina.
I'll be waiting, and I'll tell you and everyone the exact same thing. Take it off. I hate that this show has ruined plaid for me.
I know, it's because it's just not bad. It's just it always makes it look bad on this show.
It's too many fucking slices. I can't. Stop it. So, as you said, Miranda puts on a horrific plaid coat, but she shows up to the hot ladies. I'm going to call her the hot lady's apartment, and it is a horror show apartment. It's a tiny, new classic New York studio where the kitchen is also her voiceover setup. She's wearing like clogs and pajamas.
Yeah, literally.
And then there's kitty litter everywhere, all over the floor. They start making out, and then the hot lady steps in the cat poo, and that's funny.
Ha ha ha.
And then the cat lady's like, oh, I forgot my flannel sheets. God, more plaid sheets kill me. My flannel sheets are in the laundromat. I just have to go grab them. And then she's like, oh, okay, but I need quarters. Do you have quarters? And Miranda's like, no. And then she's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the bodega. I'll be back. Just make yourself comfortable. And Miranda's like, okay. And then she's sitting on the bed and she calls Carrie and she's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And Carrie's like, well, you could just leave. I do love this moment of Miranda being like, you know what? 35-year-old me would have stayed, but 56-year-old me is going to leave.
Yeah.
Because I would stay. If it were me, I would be like, I need to tough this out and see how good the person is on the other side.
Oh, no. I this is not even meant to be a brag. This is not meant to be I'm calling myself a jerk. I would have left. I have no shame. I don't know.
You're braver than me. You're braver than me. I'm like, I got to give him a chance. You know, we all forget to do our flannel laundry. Although now that I have a vendetta against plaid, I don't know anymore.
Yeah. now it's like a nerve for you. You know?
And can I just say, as ridiculous and as stupid as it is, I'm happy to see like what felt like a very vintage Sex and the City plot.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's like, it's goofy, but not in I'm not going to say that as a bad thing. Like, this is what we should be seeing is like going on dates, misadventures. Yeah.
And like, obviously she's got the hot voice and then you get there and like the apartment's a mess. It's like, it is like funny and I'm into it. I wish the show had more of this, I guess. So by the time I got to it here, I kind of was like, okay.
That's so sad.
It's dark is what I would say. And that wraps up Miranda. And so finally we get to Carrie. I will say the whole episode opens on this one moment that I actually really love, which is like, first of all, I've noticed in general with the Carrie Aidan scenes, they fucking pump in the Hallmark music. They've like gotten the musical library from the Hallmark channel and they just fucking pump it in there. So we open and it's got the Hallmark music playing and Carrie is looking at her laptop in bed. And then she sees that Aidan responded to the email that she sent at the end of the last episode. And immediately like the Hallmark music like cuts. We hear like a big bang of construction outside. And then it's like her sitting in this with the sounds of like New York coming in of like birds and beeps and stuff. I really like that. I was like, somebody had some creativity. Okay.
Someone's doing something.
Okay, so Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte all meet up at brunch, and Carrie tells them that she and Aidan are going to meet up. Charlotte's obviously into the idea. Then we have the horrific trauma of Carrie and Che being friends. So Seema decides to take Carrie out to an emergency spa date since Carrie's kind of like spiraling about the whole Aidan thing. And
why is the spa scene here? I've totally forgotten what we're even doing here. Why don't we just cut this?
The spa scene? Oh, because Seema's on the episode.
Oh, it's Seema's only appearance in this episode?
It's Seema's only appearance in this episode.
Oh.
And also, I mean, we'll get into it. I think they're trying to make a statement about Valentine's Day in this scene and doesn't land. And that's why you don't remember it.
Okay, cool.
Carrie's stressing about it, Aidan. They show up at the spa and the receptionist is like, couples massage, right? And Seema's like, no, not a couples massage, 2 people massage. And the receptionist is like, well, because it's the holiday, we're only doing couple massages. This is another one where, like, I'm just going to run through the whole scene and then we'll pick it apart to pieces. She's like, we're only doing couple massages for the holiday. And Seema's like, what holiday? Last thing I checked, like, the mail is working and, you know, like, people are at their jobs. Like, what kind of holiday are you referencing? And Carrie the whole time is like, let's just leave. Like, it's already stressing me out. And Seema's like, no, you need a massage. We're getting 2 separate rooms for a separate massage. And then the receptionist doubles down, is like, no, we're only doing couples massages for Halloween.
For Halloween.
There's too many goddamn holidays in this goddamn TV show. She's like, we're only doing couples massages for Valentine's Day, like only for the holiday. And then Seema takes out a very expensive gift card and is like, why can't you just make it work? And they're like, sorry, we can't. And then the scene just ends.
Okay, so my thoughts on this is like, first of all, I mean, maybe they're also like not this close, but like a couple's massage is also like not the worst thing. If you're in the situation, it's not the worst thing to do with a friend anyway, just because like it's not actually like you're just on 2 tables anyway.
What are you gonna do? So make out? Like,
yeah, you're not actually interacting with the other person. Like, it's quote unquote romantic because like you and your partner make it a date, but you're on a different table. It's like it's basic. It's fine. I honestly, this would have been on the cutting room floor, and I would have saved that time to finish all the other scenes that we've mentioned that keep getting cut off before we can see how they end.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I'll even say too, like, why is the spa being such a bitch about it?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like, why do you have to hold this weird couples line? And I don't even want to get into the technicals, because what really is infuriating, to your point, is like, Naya represents the single woman in this Valentine's Day episode. And she gives single women on Valentine's Day such a positive, lovely example of like, that it's fine. And then they feel like they have to give Seema the like fight of like, why is it a holiday? Why do we treat couples like special? And it's like, I don't really need this. And I feel like it makes Seema look bad.
It did make Seema look bad. I think that is why it doesn't work for me. I can see a world in when Seema was like, the way I want to spend this night, hanging out with my friends. Like, maybe that would have been her plot, is like, I don't want this to be like a couple thing. I want Valentine's to be like friends, you know, whatever. Like, you and I have spent Valentine's together. You know what I mean? Like, that could have been Seema's thing. And the way that this scene played out, I agree, made Seema actually look really intense about it and kind of militant about it. You know what I mean? In a way that I don't think read very well.
I don't think it does her any favors. And again, it's like what we always talk about, which is like, Naya's a refreshing take on what you can do for Valentine's Day as a single person. Whereas this Seema retread is like something I've kind of like seen. I don't need to feel feminist by watching this show, by having someone be upset about why Valentine's Day is all about couples.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that scene's over. We never find out any consequences or anything else about that, because Carrie's off to the restaurant to meet with Aidan and he's not there. We get a bitchy waiter. That's number 3, I think, for this episode of bitchy service worker. We get a bitchy waiter who's chewing gum and is just kind of generally blasé. Carrie clearly thinks she's been stood up because she's like waiting and he seems late. Then suddenly her phone dies. So the waiter kind of like half-heartedly offers his iPhone charger to her. She charges her phone. She's texting Aidan. They find out that she's at the wrong restaurant because he's like, I'm here. And she's like, I'm here. And then she's like, ugh. She goes to the restaurant next door. And then they bump into each other on the street. He's wearing a straitjacket, fully laced up. They reunite and they're chatting and they're getting it off. That sounded bad.
Okay.
They're hitting it off. They're a big hit. He says that he read her book about Mr. Big, and they finally just admit that they're on the same page, finally together. then they get in the cab and they go to Carrie's apartment, and he doesn't realize that she lives in the same apartment that she's always lived in. And so he refuses to go upstairs because basically there's just too much trauma in the apartment. And so you got a little fake out here where it seems like, oh, it was too good to be true. And then he's like, fuck it. This is New York. There are hotels. Let's just get a hotel. And then it ends on, and just like that, Aidan and I were on the same page, and they make out real long, and it's over.
Yeah, just like that. So we've made fun of before, so I'm not going to harp on it. But I do feel like either it's like a mixture of two things, one or two things. It's either they come up with it to begin with and then work their way backwards, or they rate the episode, realize they didn't have it, and so then they just pick a line that was said.
Yeah.
And then make that and just like that, and then she repeats the line that we heard.
I think that was really frustrating. It's like, yeah, you can't have the same line. It was said literally we 2 minutes ago. Like, it's fresh in my mind.
Right. What kind of button is that? Is just saying it again. That's a waste.
It's very confusing.
As far as the fake out goes and then goes there, I mean, I bought it. I fully thought that he was going to leave. And I did have a moment of like, wow, Marina's so good. She like teased that he was coming back, but she didn't say exactly what the deal was and said that she was like interested in it. I was like, she's so good. She made me think he was coming back to stay, but actually he comes back for this thing. Wow, that's so interesting and fun. And then actually, no, he is actually here to stay. And I was very excited and interested about that. I'm not that I'm necessarily against him staying, to be clear, but I was like impressed with the idea of what if we explored that idea of I can't actually do this again. I thought, and also because that scene I thought was really well done actually with him and her. I don't know what their relationship is, and yet I felt it. It was kind of like the Steve Miranda thing. I don't really know these people, and yet I do. You know what I mean? I was like, I see what's going on here. I see the history. I felt like Sarah Jessica Parker has like woken up and come to work, and her act. I was like, oh, everyone is like going, it was like the music. I was like, I was feeling it. I'm not necessarily against him staying, but I would have been very impressed if they like dangled that tease and then had him leave at the end.
I knew they weren't going to do him dirty like that, bring him back for one episode, especially when they like hyped so much that he was coming back. I would have felt as a fan kind of like miffed. And I think that's why they do the fake out, because they're like, oh, we're going to make those fans mad because that's what we want to do. They're already mad. Let's keep it going. Yeah. So I think that, or I think it could have been an interesting finale move, right? Of like, we think we're going to get Aidan back for the next season, and then it like ends like this. Like that would be interesting, to your point, like, because I think it is interesting. But I think I alluded to this earlier, and I really come down on this point of like, is it questionable for them to bring back Aidan? Yes. Could we sit here and discuss the ethics of bringing back this character? Yes. But at the core of it, exactly what you said. Suddenly, Sarah Jessica Parker is at work. Suddenly, a light behind her dead eyes has woken up, and she's like in it. I feel in it. I feel transported back to, it's like, I feel like what they're going for, elements of the old show, but with a new twist that's interesting. The chemistry between them is fire. I feel like Sarah Jessica actually wants to make out with him, because when she doesn't want to make out with someone, it's palpable. So like and so I'm 100% behind it just for that. Finally, interesting things for me to sink my teeth in that I care about, like Charlotte, a mother going back to work. That's a long plot that I'm interested in. Carrie rekindles this, one of her two great loves, a great plot I'm interested in. Miranda is on the dating scene, but it's, dealing with her sexuality, a long plot that these are good plots. I don't know why it took us 17 episodes to get here.
The pieces were always here. And I think that's what makes this show particularly annoying, is that it's like you see the pieces are there and you're like, why are you not doing the thing? Like, we could do the thing. It's the TikTok of the woman watching the person put like a shape into another shape. It's like a kid's toy. And it's like the round one for the round toy. It's like, yep, the square. You know what I mean? And then he keeps putting it in the other one, and she keeps getting upset. That's what watching this show is like, is her.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I hate it and I love it. And I'm happy that we're finally here.
There's no way it could get worse after this, right?
No way. I won't answer that, but it's questionable at best. All right. So
Okay.
we end as we always end with our get them and our release the Kraken. So starting with the negative, what was your get them this episode, Emily?
It has to be the Che and Carrie conversation. Che being just a nasty ass person once again, just so snotty and unreasonable and rude. And then also the fact that Carrie responds in that way by not responding basically and just being like, yeah, hated it, hate that scene, don't want any more of that.
Is my get them is the two penises on poor Giuseppe. You can't represent my country like that. My parents immigrated to this country with no knowledge of the English language, and then they can't come here and then see this as their representation as an Italian expat in America. It's not right, and we need to get somebody on this.
You're gonna get the Knights of Columbus up here.
Yeah. I'm gonna tomorrow. I'll be holding a rally by Columbus Circle by the statue. And we can all hold hands and,
sign a petition or something.
Yeah, burn a picture of Marlon Brando together.
That's fair. What's it called?
Release the Kraken.
Release the Kraken. There are two that are neck and neck, but I'm gonna pick the pot brownie and Charlotte and Harry. Nothing else to say that we haven't already said. I love it. It's great.
I think I'm going to go with the pillow moment.
Okay, that's good. That's a good one.
It really called out to me, and I was like, finally, just like a natural moment that I feel connected to that isn't just like a bonkers scaffolding to get to a bonkers plot. It's just like, this plot's a little weird, it's a little clunky, but I relate to this hard. So
that's a really good one.
LTW for the win. Well, thank you for being on this ride. Episode 8, we'll see you there. Bye-bye.